I came home early from my business trip and found my wife's car in our driveway, but she told me she was at her sister's house 200 miles away. I pulled into my driveway at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday and saw my wife's car parked in its usual spot. That wouldn't be weird except for one thing. She told me she was spending the week at her sister's house in Portland. Portland is 200 miles away. My heart started pounding before my brain even caught up to what I was seeing. I sat in my rental car for a full minute just staring at her white Honda Civic. Maybe I was confused about the dates. Maybe she'd come home early and forgot to tell me. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation. But my hands were shaking as I turned off the ignition. I'd left for my business conference in Seattle 3 days ago. Standard work trip. Boring presentations. Bad hotel coffee. But this morning's keynote speaker canceled, so they let us all go early. I didn't tell Sarah I was coming home. I wanted to surprise her. Now I was regretting that decision. I got out of the car and walked to the front door. My keys felt heavy in my hand. I unlocked the door as quietly as possible. The house was silent. No TV sounds. No music. Nothing. But someone was definitely home because Sarah's purse was on the kitchen counter. Her phone was plugged in next to it. I stood in the entryway listening. Then I heard it. Laughter coming from upstairs. Sarah's laughter. And someone else's. A man's voice. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I might throw up right there on our hardwood floors. I started up the stairs. Each step felt like it took a year. The voices got louder. They were in our bedroom. Our bedroom. The room where we'd slept together for 6 years of marriage. The door was cracked open about 2 inches. I could see movement inside. I pushed the door open. And there she was. My wife Sarah. Sitting on our bed. Fully clothed, thank God. But that didn't make what I was seeing any better. Because sitting next to her, also fully clothed, was Marcus. My brother Marcus. They both froze when they saw me. Sarah's face went completely white. Marcus stood up so fast he knocked over a glass of wine on the nightstand. Red wine spilled all over our white carpet. Nobody moved to clean it up. "Chris," Sarah said. "You're home early." That was all she said. Like I'd caught them watching TV without me. Not sitting on our bed together while I was supposed to be 200 miles away. What the hell is going on? My voice didn't sound like my own. Marcus held up his hands. "Bro, this isn't what it looks like." "Then what is it?" "Because it looks like my wife lied about where she was going and my brother is in my bedroom." Sarah stood up now too. "Chris, please, let us explain." "I'm listening." The silence stretched out. Marcus and Sarah looked at each other. Some unspoken communication passed between them. And that look, that one look, told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't the first time. This wasn't some innocent misunderstanding. This was something that had been going on for a while. "How long?" I asked. "Chris, how long, Sarah?" She started crying. 6 months. 6 months. Half a year. While I'd been going to work every day, coming home every night, sleeping next to her, telling her I loved her. She'd been sleeping with my brother. I looked at Marcus. "Get out of my house." "Chris, let me explain." "Get out before I do something we'll both regret." He looked at Sarah one more time. She gave him a small nod. And he left. Walked right past me without another word. I heard his footsteps on the stairs. The front door opening and closing. His car starting in the driveway. Then it was just me and Sarah. She was still crying. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen." "How does this happen accidentally? How do you accidentally sleep with someone's brother for 6 months?" It started at your dad's birthday party. We had too much to drink. We were talking and laughing and one thing led to another." "Stop. I don't want to hear this." "You asked." "I asked how long. Not how it started. Not the details. Just how long you've been lying to me." She wiped her eyes. "I wanted to tell you so many times. I almost did. But then time kept passing and it got harder and harder." "So you just kept doing it?" "We tried to stop. Multiple times. But we." "Don't say we. There is no we between you and Marcus. He's my brother. You're my wife. Those are supposed to be the two people I trust most in the world. I know that. And I'm so sorry. I looked around our bedroom. Everything looked the same as when I'd left 3 days ago. But nothing would ever be the same again. Did you ever love me? I asked. Or was I just convenient until something better came along? Of course I loved you. I still love you. You have a really messed up way of showing it. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. Text from Marcus. I'm sorry. Call me when you're ready to talk. I blocked his number. Then I looked at Sarah. I want you out of this house by tomorrow. Chris, please. Can we talk about this? Talk about what? About how you've been cheating on me with my own brother. About how you lied to my face for 6 months. About how every time you said you were at your sister's house, you were probably with him. She didn't deny it. That was answer enough. I'll sleep at a hotel tonight, I said. When I come back tomorrow, I want you gone. Take whatever you need. We'll figure out the rest through lawyers. Chris, don't do this. We can work through this. No, we can't. Because I'll never be able to trust you again. And a marriage without trust isn't a marriage at all. I turned and walked out of the bedroom, down the stairs, out the front door, got back in my rental car and drove to the nearest hotel, checked in, sat on the bed, and finally let myself feel everything I'd been holding back. The betrayal, the anger, the humiliation, my wife and my brother. How does that even happen? How do two people who claim to love you decide to hurt you in the worst possible way? I called my best friend Jake. Told him everything. He was at my hotel room within 20 minutes with a 6-pack of beer and a pizza. We didn't talk much. He just sat there while I processed. That's what good friends do. Around midnight, I started getting texts from family members. Apparently Sarah had called my mom. Mom, Chris, honey, call me. We need to talk about this. Dad, son, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. My sister Emma, I'm going to kill Marcus. Actually kill him. I responded to Emma, get in line. Then I turned off my phone. I didn't sleep at all that night. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, playing back the last 6 months in my head, looking for signs I'd missed. And there were so many. Sarah being on her phone constantly, taking calls in the other room, going to yoga class 3 times a week when she'd never been into yoga before. All those girls' nights that ran late. The sudden interest in going to family events where Marcus would be. How had I been so blind? The next morning, I drove back to the house. Sarah's car was gone. I walked inside. She'd taken her clothes, her toiletries, some books, left everything else. There was a note on the kitchen counter. Chris, I know you don't want to hear from me right now, but I need you to know that I never stopped loving you. What happened with Marcus was a mistake. A terrible mistake that I'll regret for the rest of my life. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even deserve forgiveness. But I needed you to know that this was never about you not being enough. This was about me being weak and selfish and stupid. I'm staying at my sister's house for real this time. I'll have my lawyer contact yours. I'm so sorry. Sarah. I crumpled up the note and threw it away. Then I called a lawyer. Filed for divorce the next day. Word spread through our families fast. My parents were devastated. They'd always loved Sarah, treated her like a daughter. Now they had to choose between their son and their other son. There was no good choice. Marcus tried calling from different numbers. Left voicemails saying we needed to talk. That he could explain. That it wasn't what I thought. I never called back. My sister Emma stopped speaking to him entirely. Blocked him on everything. Told him if she ever saw him at a family event, she'd leave immediately. My parents tried to stay neutral at first. Said they loved both of us and didn't want to take sides. But I made it clear. If they wanted a relationship with me, Marcus couldn't be at family gatherings. They chose me. Marcus stopped showing up to holidays. The divorce took 4 months. Sarah didn't fight me on anything. She signed whatever papers her lawyer put in front of her. Took her half of our savings. I kept the house. Didn't want her to have it. Didn't want to give her anything. But legally she was entitled to half of our assets. The day the divorce was finalized, I felt nothing. No relief. No satisfaction. Just emptiness. 6 months passed. I threw myself into work. Started going to the gym. Tried therapy. Went on a few dates that went nowhere. My friends kept telling me I needed to move on. That I couldn't let this define my life. But how do you move on from that kind of betrayal? Then one day, I got a text from an unknown number. Chris, this is Rachel, Sarah's sister. I know you probably don't want to hear from anyone in Sarah's family, but I need to tell you something. Can we meet for coffee? I almost deleted it, but something made me respond. We met at a Starbucks the next day. Rachel looked uncomfortable. She ordered a latte. I got black coffee. We sat in a corner booth. Thanks for meeting me, she said. I wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. What's this about? She took a deep breath. I need to tell you something about Sarah and Marcus. Something you don't know. My stomach tightened. I know enough. No, you don't. Because Sarah never told you the whole truth. I waited. Rachel pulled out her phone. Showed me a series of text messages. Between Sarah and Marcus. From before the affair even started. I read through them slowly. My hands started shaking. Because these texts told a completely different story. Marcus had been pursuing Sarah for over a year. Showing up at her yoga classes. Texting her constantly. Telling her that he'd always had feelings for her. That she'd married the wrong brother. And Sarah had told him to stop. Multiple times. She'd said she was married. That she loved me. That what he was suggesting was wrong. But Marcus didn't stop. He kept pushing. Kept showing up. Kept telling her that I didn't appreciate her the way he would. Then came the texts from after my dad's birthday party. The night Sarah said it just happened. Except it didn't just happen. Marcus had gotten her drunk deliberately. Very drunk. Then made his move when she was too intoxicated to think clearly. And after that night, he'd used it against her. Told her that she'd cheated. That she was just as guilty as he was. That if she told me, he'd make sure I knew she'd initiated it. So she'd stayed quiet. And Marcus had used that silence to continue the affair. Manipulating her. Gaslighting her. Telling her that she obviously had feelings for him or she wouldn't have let it happen. I looked up at Rachel. Why are you showing me this now? Because Sarah tried to kill herself last week. The coffee shop seemed to tilt. What? She's okay. She's in a psychiatric facility getting help. But before she went in, she gave me access to her phone. She wanted someone to know the truth. And she wanted you to know that what happened wasn't entirely her fault. Marcus manipulated her. Coerced her. And she was too ashamed to tell anyone. I couldn't speak. Rachel kept going. I'm not saying Sarah is blameless. She made choices. Bad choices. She should have told you what Marcus was doing from the start. But she was scared. Scared of losing you. Scared of tearing the family apart. Scared that you'd blame her. And Marcus used all of that against her. Does my family know about this? No. Sarah didn't want to tell them. She didn't want to cause more problems. But I thought you deserved to know. Because you've spent the last 6 months thinking your wife and your brother had this mutual affair. And that's not what happened. Your brother is a predator. And Sarah was his victim. I sat there for a long time, processing. Everything I'd believed about the situation was wrong. Not completely wrong. Sarah had still made choices. Still lied. Still betrayed me. But the context changed everything. Where's Marcus now? I asked. I don't know. I think he's still in the area. Why? Because I need to talk to him. Rachel looked worried. Chris, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't care what you think. I left the coffee shop. Got in my car. Called Marcus from a new number he wouldn't recognize. He answered on the second ring. Hello. It's Chris. We need to talk. Silence. Then okay. Where? The park near Dad's house. 1 hour. I'll be there. I hung up. Drove to the park. Got there early. Sat on a bench and waited. Marcus showed up exactly on time. He looked rough. Like he hadn't slept in days. Good. He sat down on the other end of the bench. Neither of us said anything for a minute. Then I spoke. Rachel showed me the texts. His face went pale. What texts? Don't play dumb. The texts between you and Sarah. All of them. From before the affair. During the affair. Everything. He didn't respond. You pursued her for a year. You manipulated her. You got her drunk and took advantage of her. Then you blackmailed her into continuing the affair. That's not how it happened. Then how did it happen, Marcus? Tell me your version. He ran his hands through his hair. I had feelings for her. Real feelings. I couldn't help that. Having feelings doesn't mean you act on them. Especially when the person is married to your brother. You don't understand. Sarah and I had a connection. Something real. A connection you created by manipulating her for months. I didn't manipulate her. She had feelings for me too. She told you to stop. Multiple times. I saw the messages. She didn't mean it. Yes, she did. But you didn't care what she meant. You only cared about what you wanted. Marcus stood up. Why did you call me here? To yell at me? Fine. Yell. Get it out of your system. I called you here to tell you that I know the truth now. And so will everyone else. What are you talking about? I'm telling Mom and Dad. I'm telling Emma. I'm telling everyone in our family exactly what you did. How you pursued a married woman. How you took advantage of her. How you manipulated her into an affair and then used it against her. Chris, don't. I'm also filing a restraining order against you. You're not allowed within 500 feet of Sarah. Or me. Or my house. You can't do that. Watch me. I stood up and started walking away. Marcus called after me. She still made choices. She still cheated. This isn't all on me. I turned around. You're right. She made choices. Bad ones. But you're a predator. You targeted her. You wore her down. You manipulated her until she didn't know which way was up. And then when she tried to stop, you blackmailed her. That's not an affair. That's abuse. I loved her. No, you didn't. Because love doesn't manipulate. Love doesn't coerce. Love doesn't destroy people. What you did to her, what you did to me, what you did to our family, that wasn't love. That was selfishness. That was cruelty. And I'm done pretending otherwise. I walked back to my car. Drove straight to my parents' house. They were both home. I showed them the texts. Told them everything Rachel had told me. My mom started crying. My dad got very quiet. Then he said something I'll never forget. He's not welcome in this house anymore. Dad, you don't have to. Yes, I do. What Marcus did is unforgivable. He hurt you. He hurt Sarah. He destroyed our family. And I won't enable that by pretending it's okay. My mom nodded. I agree. He made his choices. Now he has to live with the consequences. That evening I called Sarah's sister. Asked for Sarah's number at the psychiatric facility. Rachel gave it to me. I called. A nurse answered. Said Sarah was allowed phone calls during certain hours. I left a message asking her to call me back when she could. She called the next day. Her voice was small. Chris. Hey. How are you doing? I'm okay. Better than I was. The therapy here is helping. That's good. Silence. Then Sarah said, Rachel told you everything, didn't she? Yeah, she did. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you from the start. I was so scared. Scared you'd hate me. Scared you'd think it was my fault. Sarah, what Marcus did to you wasn't your fault. The manipulation, the coercion, taking advantage of you when you were drunk. That's on him. She started crying. But I still made choices. I still lied to you. I still hurt you. Yeah, you did. And I'm not going to pretend that doesn't matter. You should have told me what Marcus was doing. You should have come to me instead of hiding it. I know. But I also understand now that the situation was more complicated than I thought. And I'm sorry I didn't see what Marcus was doing to you. It's not your job to protect me from your own brother. Maybe not. But it is my job to listen. And I didn't give you a chance to explain. More silence. Then Sarah asked, what happens now? Now you focus on getting better, on healing, on learning to forgive yourself. What about us? I took a deep breath. I don't know. The divorce is finalized. That's done. But maybe eventually, when you're out of there and I've had more time to process everything, we can talk. Really talk. I'd like that. No promises. I'm not saying we're getting back together. I'm not saying I can forgive everything. But maybe we can find a way to not hate each other. That's more than I deserve. Probably. But it's what I'm offering. We talked for a few more minutes, then said goodbye. I hung up feeling lighter than I had in months. Not healed. Not fixed. But lighter. That was 6 months ago. Sarah got out of the psychiatric facility after a 2-month stay. She's in therapy 3 times a week. Living with her sister. Working part-time. We've met for coffee twice. Awkward conversations. But civil. She apologized again. I told her I was working on forgiveness. Not there yet, but working on it. Marcus moved to a different state. Good riddance. My parents haven't spoken to him since the day I showed them the texts. Emma still wants to murder him but has settled for pretending he doesn't exist. Me? I'm doing okay. Better than okay some days. I'm in therapy too. Working through trust issues. Realizing I have my own work to do. My own healing. I started dating someone new last month. Her name is Amy. She knows everything about what happened. I was honest from the start. Told her I have baggage. Told her I'm still working through stuff. She said everyone has baggage. That mine is just more recent than most people's. I like her. Maybe even more than like. But I'm taking it slow. Learning to trust again. Learning to believe that not everyone will hurt me the way Sarah and Marcus did. Some days are harder than others. Some days I'm angry all over again. But most days I'm just grateful I found out the truth. Grateful that Rachel showed me those texts. Grateful that I didn't spend the rest of my life believing my wife and brother had just decided to betray me for fun. The truth was more complicated. Messier. But also clearer in some ways. Sarah made mistakes. Big ones. But Marcus was the real villain in this story. And I hope karma catches up with him eventually. Because here's what I learned from all of this. Betrayal is rarely as simple as it looks. People are complicated. Situations are complicated. And sometimes the person you think is the villain is actually the victim. And sometimes the person you think is the victim is actually the villain. You just have to dig deep enough to find the truth. And when you find it, you have to decide what to do with it. Forgive or hold on to anger. Move forward or stay stuck. Trust again or build walls. I'm choosing to move forward. Slowly, carefully, but forward nonetheless. Because staying stuck in the past won't change what happened. It'll just keep me from finding out what could happen next. And I'm finally ready to find out.